Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Kansas City Profiles presented by Easton Roofing. Today, truly a story for our times as we feature country singer Stephanie Quayle, whose star was hitting new heights just as we hit the coronavirus pandemic. A Montana native raised on a farm, she caught the music bug early and had her path cemented with a chance occurrence overseas during a high school exchange program. Slowly but surely, she built a career, eventually moved to Nashville, and after several years there, started hitting the charts and playing venues as prestigious as the Grand Ole Opry. But when we started to get locked down, she decided to maintain a connection with fans with her daily Facebook Live program, Heyy'all, which pops up on her Facebook page every day at 10 here in Kansas City, where she has a connection in featuring her restaurant of the day last Friday as 1889 Pizza Napolitana in Kansas City, Kansas. Her show features a little music, the restaurant references, a few laughs, and includes her miniature farm animals as she broadcasts from her North Carolina farm. Currently a top 10 female performer in radio airplay and a CMT Next Women of Country inductee, Stephanie brings her lively personality to her dedicated fans, known as the Flock of Quayle. Dedicated to bringing smiles during this tough time, from coast to coast, it's a pleasure to bring you this enjoyable conversation with Stephanie Quayle on Kansas City Profiles, presented by Easton Roofing. We're here with Joe Spiker, the CEO and president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you had a great year in 2019, a record year. 2020 comes, things are moving smoothly along, and then the coronavirus comes. But your company seemed to be very ready, very proactive, and very ready to serve your customers well.
Yeah, we adopted social distancing very early before the cities even put out the notices. And we started working from home. We are largely cloud-based as a company, so that transition was easy. Our technicians are wearing masks and gloves, and salespeople are not meeting with homeowners. We're doing everything digitally and doing everything we can to do our part to get over this as quickly as possible.
So for any needs that people have right now, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can always call us, 913-257-5426. But the best way is to go to eastonroofing.com, put your information in, and we'll give you a call.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
Hey everyone, this is Matt Llewellyn from 23rd Street Brewery, wishing you well while you stay safe during this time of uncertainty. Due to the recent news, you won't be able to get the same in-restaurant experience at the 23rd Street Brewery that you've come to expect over the past 16 years. But you can get the same delicious items prepared with the highest level of staff cleanliness available for carryout and delivery through our partners Eat Street. You can also still enjoy our craft beers and crowlers for to-go service. So remember, stay safe, and together we will all get through this time of uncertainty.
My friends at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture are among the most accomplished and trusted clinics in the nation. Only one clinic has been rated in the top 5 in all 3 categories of chiropractic care, acupuncture, and rehabilitation, and that clinic is ASFCA. They have locations in Olathe, Overland Park, Prairie Village, Belton, and Lee Summit. Doctors Brad and Christina Woodle and their accomplished team of doctors and therapists will treat you like family, for the simplest of injuries to the most complicated conditions to avoid surgery. Whether you are seeking treatment for an injury or just looking to stay healthy and fit, this is the place for you. And it's been the place for me for almost 2 years now. I have been a strenuous daily exerciser for years, and as time goes on, that takes its toll. But regular appointments at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture have helped keep me ticking on, and even as the years pile up, their regular care has allowed me to keep to my regimen and feel great. If you want to feel the same, give them a call or visit them at asfca.com/Danny. They accept all insurances and are open Monday through Saturday, and make sure to mention that Danny Clinkscale recommended Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Stephanie, you're a Montana girl, and I know you're proud of that, as a matter of fact. Tell us about growing up, well, for Montana, in the big city of Bozeman. Is that where you were raised?
That's right. Big city. Huge city of Bozeman. You know, it was a big town to me growing up. We were just outside of Bozeman is where our farm was. We had cattle and bison, and my stepdad was a veterinarian. So we lived it fully from, morning till night. The job wasn't done until the job was done. The chores were not done until the chores were done. And it was a beautiful way to grow up. And Montana is such a endless view that, I had so much freedom I didn't even realize that everyone doesn't have growing up, just having that wide open freedom of, jumping on the back of my horse. And it was a great way to grow up. And I had a little AM radio in my horse barn where I spent most of my time as a kid, and it just played country music. And that's where I got the bug. That's where I got the, love of country music. As they say in the South, I came by it honestly.
When did you translate that to starting to think about or picking up a guitar or starting to do it yourself?
So I started piano when I was about 4. My 4 and a half. My stepdad's mom, my step grandmother, was just, oh my goodness, so many words. She was a piano teacher, and so she was tough as nails, my friend. So she really started teaching me, music. And then I started writing poetry, 8, 9, 10, started writing my first little songs around 12, and then picked up the guitar. I actually bought a little guitar at a pawn shop. I think it was like $125. And I felt like such a grown up, like going in and buying, like, that's a pretty expensive guitar for a 15-year-old kid.
Oh, yeah.
And I was, saving up my money. And so I started just writing music, super simple songs, and didn't think this would ever be possible as my life. I didn't know it was possible as a career, and, being this little farm kid in Montana. And it wasn't until I did an exchange program my junior year of high school. So 16 years of age, I go over to Freiburg, Switzerland on an exchange, and there is one of the very first days I was there, or I'm sorry, not days, first months I was there, my host brother and I, we went to this little cafe, and kid you not, sitting next to us is a band talking about how their lead singer had just moved back to Germany. So me being very shy and introverted, spoke up and said, "Hi, I sing, and will you let me audition?" And they did, and I got the job. And so after school, I would go, rehearse with the band and write songs with them. And that was really the first time I was on stage fronting a band and writing songs and in this whole crazy world, not let alone being in a foreign country, just falling in love with the stage. And it was the first time I really thought I made sense. And I go, this is where it makes sense for me. I have to do this. How do I do this? And, came back to Montana just on fire for all things music and figuring out a way to make this my life. And then over many years of challenges and hurdles and figuring it out and learning, I finally made my way to Nashville in 2011, November of 2011, and pretty much threw out everything I thought I knew about the industry. And I was now full-time music, so I was able to make my living full-time music, which was great to be able to really just fall in love with the process and songwriting, and the craft of Nashville, and, just to learn it all over again in a completely different way than what, you learn as you go from the streets, and then you get to learn the business from the ones actually doing it, especially from songwriting standpoint. So I was able to just dive in, and now, how many years later? Almost 9. Woo.
That's
we're doing some things.
Yeah, you're really doing some things, and obviously, top 10 country female airplay and hit singles and things like that. But that's a long road and a tough road. About a decade before where you're playing music full time before you decide to make the leap to Nashville. I know how challenging that is. My kids lived there for 5 years. I used to go out every Sunday night and see people, and there's so many talented people there. And there's so many talented people there, I'll repeat, that it's a tough nut to crack. What gave you the determination that you could do it?
Well, I don't know. I think it's just, no, I do know, actually. I take that back. It's the love of what happens between the entertainer and the fan the song and the fan and what happens from that back and forth on stage that is indescribable. Nothing can replace it, and it's a must. And I think that's what it is. I think that because, yes, it's the most challenging business I've ever been a part of. That challenge, is very much like, no, I'm going to find a way. But the love of what happens between a song and a heart and a fan and a moment, and you then multiply that by the hundreds and thousands. We're not quite to hundreds of thousands of fans at a concert yet. But, that's just intoxicating, and it drives you. So in the moments of like, yeah, what am I doing? Something really extraordinary will happen, and it will probably be something that no one ever hears about because it'll be a fan reaching out about a moment. And that our fans are called Flock of Quayle. And it's our little fan family, and someone will reach out saying, hey, thank you for this moment, or thank you for this song, or thank you for what you said in between these two songs during that show last week. And that truly has been what's just been my, I have to keep going. I have to keep doing this because there's so much goodness and positive impact that can be created through music and entertainment. And that's really powerful. And I think we're experiencing it so much right now, too, because we've all had to go on virtually. Everything we do right now is virtual. We can't have shows. We can't go on tour. All of our stuff is, our industry is shut down in a way that we've had to reinvent and create and stretch ourselves to where we can still have those connections as much as, you can virtually. And that's part of the reason why heyy'all happened, is I didn't want to feel disconnected from my fan family, and to how to do something that will be fun and playful and have those, if it's just 15 minutes of forget about what's going on in the world. Not that we don't all know what's going on in the world. We are all well aware of the situations. And I am not a journalist. I am not a newscaster. I am just a girl with a guitar and miniature animals and some stories to share and some songs to share. And if that brings some light to people's days, then I feel like I'm still doing my job. And I think that was the most important thing for me, was how to keep feeling like I'm giving something, I'm contributing, if that makes sense.
Absolutely makes sense. We'll get into more of heyy'all in a little bit. Hey with an A, by the way, folks. So you get the drift. You get
Hey with an A.
Hey with an A. And was there a moment in time or a span of time where things really started to turn for you in Nashville, where you felt like, hey, this is clicking, this is going to turn into something really big?
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I think the last couple years, there's been a shift. And I think a lot of that for me internally as an artist, writer, musician, entertainer was when I got invited to perform at the Grand Ole Opry and make my debut. And that was a big turning point for me, because I remember when I stepped into that circle before the lights came on, before we rehearsed the songs, before, it was the afternoon, and just to be in that room on that stage, just soaking up what was about to happen that night. Because you only get your first time once. You only get your debut one time. And how to really soak every moment of that up, I felt something change in me as an artist. And then I also think, Selfish, which I co-wrote, and that charted on the Billboard Country chart in 2018. That was a big step for me as a writer. I think for me as an entertainer, I've been entertaining for such a long time, since I pretty much came out of the womb. I've been like, da, 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 da. Here I am. And so as a songwriter, Nashville is filled with some of the most exquisite, brilliant brains in songwriting. So I think that still very much intimidates me. I'm every song I write, every co-write I have, every song that I get pitched, I'm like, man, I've got to step it up. And so I started feeling like, okay, I'm not just an artist in a room. I'm a collaborator. I am a writer. And so every song that kind of makes its way, or, I performed a song on the little show today that I co-wrote with a couple of extraordinary writers, and I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of that music because it's resonating with the listener. So I think for me, that stuff, of course, all the, the more the festivals come and the write-ups are always, so spectacular. Watching the fan base grow as it's grown, and we're really being able to see how that impact's happening. It's been the last couple of years that everything is starting to gain that momentum. And I feel like we're really close to that tipping point. And it's just ironic that we're in a pandemic. So it's a very interesting time of slowing down to hurry up.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, but it must have been pretty jarring at first. I mean, we're only, 5-6 weeks into this particular thing. I'm sure you had shows lined up. I'm sure that, now they're not lined up till September or so, and we hope that those are going to be ones that are made. How like jarring or shocking was it right at first?
So it was really interesting because I was out on the West Coast when we kind of got the call that things were starting to get canceled, and it was like, okay, where do I go? Do I go back to Nashville, or do I come to our farm in North Carolina? And so my husband and I were discussing it, and we're like, okay, I think, why don't you come to North Carolina and we'll make a game plan and kind of see how things go. And this was at the very beginning, right, when things are still kind of, is LA going to kind of do, the stay-at-home order? And right. I did not, of course, want to be not with my family if there's going to be a stay-at-home order anywhere. So coming to North Carolina made the most sense. And then our farm here is a working farm. So then it was kind of going, okay, what's this look like for our team members, our employees? Like, if we have to, if people are, if it's, we get, we're only able to utilize like essential, like what does essential mean? How much can I learn quickly so I can help in anything, that's needed on the farm? And then all the meanwhile, I think we canceled 40 flights in one day.
Wow.
For band and, shows and radio performances and touring. So that was heavy, but also it was like a day-to-day occurrence of that. And okay, the ACMs have been pushed back. That was a big, like, okay, this is everything's getting more and more postponed and pushed back to fall. And I think when the CMA canceled, the CMA Music Festival canceled in June, that hit me probably the hardest, because this will be the first year since I moved to Nashville, and I played in 2012. So my very first CMA Music Festival back in 2012, I also performed at. So my first experience of it, I also was on one of their stages. And so that really hit me because there's so many people that come to Nashville. It's such a love of country music. That one really got me. I really thought that maybe they would be postponing until maybe the fall. And it just wasn't, it wasn't possible. And so it's been interesting and navigating just the emotional roller coaster that we all are on, not only praying that you don't get this and that your family doesn't get this, and, my parents, and, checking up on them so much, but my husband's parents, they're in facilities where they're not allowing anyone to come see them. And that was really tough for our family, having to have those limitations with, they're a little bit older and not being able to see them because they're, more prone to it. It's been, we just navigate. Like, how do we get everyone's phone numbers to do FaceTime with everyone, and just
right.
make sure that there's still a connection and that visual connection, which I think is so important. The phone is one thing, but also, being able to see each other's faces and really, know that we're going to do the best we can and we're going to get through this together. And that's been my sentiment for everyone, because so many people are going through we're all in this together, but we're all experiencing very different versions of all of us doing this together. And that's been really interesting experience, even from our customers coming into our little market, which is considered essential because it's a little grocery store. And so we've really been able to help our community, but also, having, our nurses and our doctors that are completely worn out, and like, how can we get them their groceries? And how can we get our seniors and our elderly that can't maybe get in, or those that have, so it's been I kind of feel like I'm living multiple lives simultaneously right now. I just finished a write today, and before that I was working in the market, and before that I was working in the storage barn, making sure, our shipments are going out, and then before that was heyy'all. And I'm kind of just navigating this new world best I can to really make sure I'm available and needed in any which way I can be for both my worlds, from my family and our farm to the music and how to keep it all moving.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. We're visiting with Larry Marshall, former Chiefs defensive back and punt returner and now a Chiefs ambassador. Larry is a former pro football player with the aches and pains that come with that, and moving on in age as we all are. What do the Canaway CBD products do for you?
It's been a great relief for me. Being a punt and kickoff returner, collisions were a mainstay of my career, and these Canaway products, the salve especially, has really helped me try to get through every day with the aches and pains that I've had over a career of 7+ years in the NFL.
I get similar benefits as well, particularly with my back. Certainly wasn't a football player. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information about the great products themselves?
Well, I'm so enthused about it, Dana. They just contacted me at larrymarshall.canaway.com, and I can give them all the information they need to help them get through the day as well.
Start gaining all the benefits that Larry and I do from the trusted and reliable line of Canaway products. As Larry said, visit larrymarshall.canaway.com and get information on all the great products from Canaway.
For many people, a family law case will be one of the most difficult experiences in their life. The law firm of Kenneth McRae will help you through it. Personal and effective help from Ken in concert with you will develop a unique strategy for your unique case. As Ken always says, divorce can be civil law, not civil war. Licensed in Kansas? Visit McRaeLawOffice.com or call 913-972-4765.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Our guest is Stephanie Quayle, and among obviously a multitude of things, she also has developed the Facebook Live show every day at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. So for our listeners here in Kansas City, 10 o'clock Central, but we have podcast listeners around, so it's 11 o'clock Eastern. And talk about heyy'all and your idea behind it, obviously to keep the connection. How'd you come up with it?
Sure. So on our farm, we don't have any animals that kids can really connect with, and our farm is open to the public. And so one of the ideas was, how can we bring in some small miniature creatures, is what I call them, small animals, so that kids can have that connection to the animals and not be intimidated by their size. So it started off as, we'll bring them to different events that we have on the farm. We've got, a couple miniature donkey babies. We've got a miniature steer, miniature horse and pony. And now we've got these baby goats that you heard earlier. They're so so loud, and some bunnies, and we'll just start creating these, experiences for kids to not only educate, but to like be able to touch and feel what, the different fur, and just understand like the different hair of a donkey versus, it's just a really great way for kids to learn. Well, all events got shut down. So it was not only how do I keep my fan family engaged musically, but how do I invite these animals into everyone's home? I mean, I don't have a TV show yet. So how can I do a live broadcast where I've never done this before, but it will bring some lighthearted moments to what is, a difficult time. And then it was like, well, if we're going to do this, let's make a desk out of hay. I'll get some chicken lights. That'll be my lighting. I'll use my whatever gadgets I have left here. I'm using my laptop to run it. And, and every day something goes awry, but awry in a good way.
Right.
Like, today I had my baby steer on and my little horse, and it was just, one of those days where the wind was blowing a little differently, and you're like, you know what, a computer could get kicked today. There's a chance or Stephanie could get kicked today. So we've kind of, the idea behind the show is heart, humor, and country music. And then what we'll do is we'll share positive stories and like what's going on in the day, and a specific restaurant every single day. We've shared a specific restaurant and then music that we want to highlight. And then I'll end the show with me performing a song or a cover or a song I've written or a previous song that I've released. And it's been really sweet to watch it connect with every age, families. I'll get calls of like, hey, I saw your show today, and or messages on social media. And it's just really special. And it's also great to be able to bring more awareness to these awesome stories, awesome organizations and restaurants that are, really helping their communities and, all across the country.
No doubt about that. And on the April 17th episode of Hey Y'all, you highlighted 1889 Pizza Napolitana. I hope we're doing that right. Yeah, that's
Napolitana. I just want to go there right now.
It's in Kansas City, Kansas, and you talk about the things that people are offering these days. Restaurants are in a difficult position to try and have themselves stay at least viable till they can open fully and with takeout and things like that. And, it's really important for people to remember that and use takeout maybe more than they have, and they'll get some great food and they get to help people out at the same time. How did you come up with the restaurant hook?
So I was just thinking about all these different places that just locally from Nashville and North Carolina, where I am, of my friends have these restaurants, and they're having, like, with great challenge comes great innovation. And how can we support? And so it started off with just a couple of my friends' places. I was like, hey, is it okay if I just share what you guys are doing at your restaurant? And, so make sure I know what I'm saying, so I don't sound so I don't screw anything up, but kind of make sure. And so then through that, like, hey, could we do this every day? And how can we be more helpful? Because, I'm not in Kansas City, but I love Kansas City. And I want to support all the places I've been in this country and places I want to go to that, we have to help our local businesses. So, man, how great is it to not have to cook? Well, find out if your local restaurant has, takeout available or delivery or curbside everyone's come up with all these great ideas. There are even some places that are doing the ingredients, so you just go, you pick it up, and it's all ready. And I think that America is so good at coming together and so innovative that this is just another way to connect more dots, connect more people. How can we even, you can get takeout for someone else, get takeout for a family that doesn't even expect it. That's just we're really great at going the extra mile, and I love that part of these times that are so challenging with so many unknowns. And there's some really tragic, conversations happening right now. How do we bring more light and more positivity and more goodness to that? And so that's just, one other way.
I know obviously you're a very busy person, so we'll ask just a couple more. When you think about the end game now, and we're starting to see maybe little cracks of light. We don't want to rush things, right, obviously, but and people like yourself are keeping people sane with your Facebook Live show. But what do you anticipate on the other side? How excited are you to continue this momentum that's been interrupted for you a little bit?
Yeah, I'm so excited to just honestly wrap my arms around so many people that I have not been able to. I think that, and just trusting that we are all going to walk with a lot more kindness than maybe we did 2 months ago. I think that there's the opportunity in this moment is really to take personal inventory. And there's so much kindness that's happening, and empathy and understanding, and like helping your fellow man. I really want to, when I say fellow man, I mean fellow everybody.
Right.
How do we really lean into that and just be better? Let's just all be better and really help each other through this, because it's going to take collective force to really, not force as in force, you know what I mean? Collective, yes. Let's all do this together. So I'm excited to see what's going to continue to happen with that. Not only in our industries, but just in our day-to-day lives. I was walking, when I say walking to work today, I mean that with a little bit of smirk, because I'm only, from our market, I'm only about a 5-minute walk. But I was walking, and the sun was just, coming up, so beautiful, peeking through the trees. And our garden, we've got some cover crop right now, and a couple, flowers are starting to bloom, and there's this purple iris that the light was just hitting just so strikingly that it stopped me. And I just remembered that had I not left my car at work, the night before, I could just jump in and driven the 2 minutes. It's just like hardly a drive. And, but I got to walk this morning, and I just remember saying to myself, man, if I can't take in the small, if I can't appreciate the little things, then how am I ever going to be able to appreciate the big things? So it was just one of those moments of, man, it really hit me, and I'm just really grateful, because I want to walk into this new whatever world that we'll have. If it takes a few more months to get shows on the road or whatever it is, I just really want to be more appreciative and have that stronger fortitude that, we really will get through this, and we will make the most of it. And my mom always says, in the most toughest of moments of my life, personally and professionally, she's always said, only good will come of this. And I remember, when I first got here to North Carolina and we were canceling all those shows, I'm just like, Mom, like, how do I do this? Like, what do I do? What is this all going to look like? And she goes, I promise you, only good will come of this. And I'm like, Mom, how do you do that? But it's such a profound and such a simple statement. So I know that we'll find a way to make it all come back to a place where we can be most effective and efficient, and find ways to not be afraid to go to concerts. I want the fear to dissipate more than anything else. I want us to not be afraid to be together. If we wash our hands more, that's good regardless. If we don't touch our faces, that's good regardless. These are good things that we have now learned through this process. I hate that it took us here to get there, but this is where we are. And I just really believe that there's going to be greatness that's going to come of this. And challenges do stretch us all to have to go beyond what's comfortable. And I'm excited to see the other side.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klingscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like the law offices of Kenneth McRae, developing a unique strategy for your family law case. Divorce can be civil law, not civil war.